Hey guys, check out what I got coming for y'all next on this episode of DDG. Check it out. That's right, I'm back with another video. And first off, I want to say to my subscribers, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time out to watch my content. And first of all, I'd like to say make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you turn on your post notifications so that whenever I drop a video, you guys will be the first to see it. I got a special treat for you guys today. You know, I have something that I've done strictly out of the norm, something I don't usually do, something that just came up off the top of my head. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and set y'all up on the tripod so y'all can see what I'm talking about. And that would be the two SUVs you see right here before you. Yes, those are the Nissan Patrol, and one is the Nissan Patrol Nismo. Okay, the Nismo would be the white one. And there's not a whole lot of difference between the two, but there are some exterior changes, a couple exterior changes, maybe a little more horsepower between the two. But let's get into it. So as you can see, I have two patrols right here standing before you. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a little bit into the history of the Nissan Patrol. So just in case you don't know, the Nissan Patrol spans back to, I would say, the first generation, which came out in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. I want to make sure that that information is correct, because this spans a long way back. Yes, it does span a long way back. It does start in the 50s. So I'm going to post up a picture. So this would be the first generation of the Patrol, which came out in 1951. This was the start of the whole Nissan Patrol. You know, it kind of resembles a Jeep a little bit. So it kind of went along those lines of more or less like Jeep, sort of like in those type of boundaries, because that's what it looks like, to be honest. It looks like a Jeep. So this would be their first generation. This is what started it all. You know, back in the day, they just had a lot of Jeeps and things like that. So, you know, I think a lot of those early trucks, what have you, you know, a lot of them may resemble Jeeps or what have you. But that's the first generation. And let's take a look at the second generation. So this is the second generation of the Patrol. Now, the production period on this one was between 1960 and 1980. Okay, this was the second one. You can see it still has that Jeep look to it. So it didn't really change much, you know, a couple things, but it still had that Jeep kind of like presence with it. So that's another thing with the first and second generation. They kind of had that Jeep like look to them. All right, now let's move on to the third generation. So now, as you can see, with the third generation, things are starting to change. Things are starting to look different. They're kind of moving away from the Jeep look, and they're going more into kind of like more like a small SUV stance. Now, this third generation was produced from 1980 to 1989. And let me also mention to you as well that I'm quite sure you guys know that when you look at these, you kind of seen these before in America. So if you've seen these in America, you've seen them as the Nissan Armada, because that's what they were called in North America. But if you were any other place in the world, they called them the Nissan Patrol. So that was the big difference in the name. So North America got the Armada name, where in other parts of the world it was actually called the Patrol. But this was the third generation, like I said, from 80 to 89. Let's move to the fourth generation. And as you can see now, it's become a four-door. So now it has begun to have more room. You know, they stretched it out a little more, you know, from the two-door that they started with in the beginning. Now it's a four-door. And this one was from 1989 to 98. So remember, like I said, just because you see these different generations and the years kind of are intertwined between each other, that's because these patrols were made in different parts of the world. Some of them had certain generations, others didn't, but this is how they determine, you know, which ones that they had. So they were made in different parts of the world, except in North America, where North America didn't get it until the 6th gen. And that's kind of like where we're at with that. And let's go to the 5th gen. So here's the 5th gen. Now you can see with the 5th gen, it's starting to look more modern, you know, and starting to look more like an SUV now. They done moved far away from the Jeep look, and now it's looking more like an SUV, a really full-size SUV at that. So this one was produced from October 97 to 2023. So with this one, as you can see, like I said, it's gotten bigger. It's more full size now, and you could see that it's beginning to take shape, take form, beginning to look a little bit different and things like that. Now, here is the 6th gen. So the 6th gen started in 2023. So from there, you can recognize that this one was the one that people noticed more in North America. You know, the Armada, to be exact. You know, so a lot of people remember that. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when the Armada first came out, did you realize that the very first Armada was not just an Armada? It was a Pathfinder Armada. In the beginning, they first called it a Pathfinder Armada. The very first one that came out, it was called the Pathfinder Armada. And I guess as time went on, they kind of pulled the Pathfinder name and just left it strictly an Armada alone. I do remember when it first came out, they called it the Pathfinder Armada. And they stripped away the Pathfinder name and just simply called it the Armada ever since. And now let's move on to the future, which is now they have the 7th gen. And as you can see, the 7th gen is definitely the newest kid on the block. And that would be for the year of 2025. So that is the newest Patrol slash Armada that they have out there now. So as you can see, this truck has been through 7 generations. It's on its 7th generation. So, you know, it's come a very, very long way. Now, about the Nismo, which is the one on the left here, the white one, that one is more tuned and more performance and has a little bit of an enhancement as far as you can see, it has like a little kit on the bottom there. You can see that little kit on the bottom. You can see the kit on the back. You can see it also has black wheels. I did not modify this in any way, shape, or form. This is how the truck came when I purchased it from AliExpress. It came just like this. I figure I might as well have the Nismo model along with the regular model itself. So this is the Nismo version of the Patrol. And the Nismo version had a 5.6 liter V8, which had 428 horsepower. And it had 560 Nm feet of, well, 560 pound-feet of torque, 7-speed transmission, 0 to 106.6 seconds. So it really wasn't that fast. It had 22-inch rims. It had sport-tuned suspension with the Bilstein shocks for enhanced dynamics. And like I said, it had that 5.6 liter V8 that was tuned by Nissan's Takumi Master Craftsman. So like I said, as you know, this is the 6th generation of the Nissan Patrol. Other things that it has is it has darker colors with sporty red accents, aggressive front bumper and grille in glossy black. Well, unfortunately, this doesn't have the glossy black, but as you can see in the difference in the grills, that the grill is actually the same color as the truck itself rather than a traditional chrome. So you can also see that. It says the Nismo is range-topping variant of Nissan Patrol in the Middle East, which is what this is. It blends luxury with motorsport-inspired thrills. The Patrol Nismo is a key contributor to Nissan's SUV leadership in the Middle East. So they definitely use these a lot. This is definitely their flagship truck in the Middle East. The outgoing Y62 Patrol Nismo featured a 21 kilowatt increase in power compared to the standard model. And the new Y63 Patrol Nismo is expected to apply the same recipe as its predecessor, including a more aggressive body kit and red accenting. And it's just like I said, you see the kit, it has the red accents on the kit, the body kit, as you can see. So it does boast the red accents, like I said. So the new model will have that for the 2025 year. And the standard model would either feature a 5.6 liter V8 or a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 with the 9-speed automatic transmission and independent suspension with air springs. Okay, so it has those things. And like I said, the difference would probably be the tuning of the suspension. I mean, the tuning of the engine, power, um, a lot of more features and things like that. So that's what you'll get from the Patrol Nismo over the standard model. The towing capacity is about 3,500 kilograms. That's Australian spec. Middle Eastern spec would be 2,000 kilograms. Okay. It has adaptive air suspension. And it has Nissan's advanced driving assistance system called Pro Pilot. It has rear automatic emergency brake for safer reversing, predictive forward collision warning with laser rangefinder. It has a 28.6 monolith infotainment display with a twin 14.3-inch screen with Google Maps integration, heads-up display, and clips premium audio. It has a 273 millimeter ground clearance. So, you know, it boasts a lot of things. And like I said, the Nissan Patrol has 7 generations written all over it. It's a flagship model, you know, in other places, especially in the Middle East. But let's get down to what I have here before you. Now, let's take a look at the Nismo first. So I'm going to put this in the background because I want to save that for last. And as you can see with the Nismo, it actually has a different color interior compared to the outgoing, compared to the standard model, and you will see in quite a second. But let's open up the Nismo and let's take a look at the interior so that you can have a closer look at what we have here. Now, if you check out the interior, it has this awesome orange and black interior. Let me get you closer. There you go. And as you can see, okay, so we can get a little bit of a focus here. There we go. Okay, so you can see that the dashboard and not the dashboard, but the center console and in the infotainment center, the whole that whole center console is very much detailed. You can see the seats and the door panels have a special orange and black color. You can see the speakers on the door. Let's look at the back door. You can also see the speakers on the door. You also see that the speakers are well detailed as well. You can see that the seats and the center console also boasts the orange and black interior. So let's take a look at the rear. And that is the rear. Let's open it up. It does have a third row seat. It does not retract. It does not go down. So you cannot push down the third row seat. Most models that I have, most of the time usually have third row seats that you can fold down for more cargo room. But in this case, this Patrol doesn't have that. So that's not available for this particular model. Now let's open the door and work our way around to the driver's side. And as you can see on the driver's side, or you check out the rear. You see the rear is the same. As you can see on the driver's side, it has the Nissan logo on the steering wheel. I love the way the steering wheel looks, very detailed to specifics. I like that. You can also see it has some special wheels compared to the outgoing model. You see the outgoing model does not have the same wheels as the Nismo, so it's very much different. Let's take a look under the hood. Most people call it the bonnet. And as you can see, it looks very much tuned. It's probably got that V8 under it since it's a new Nismo. You know, Nismos are going to be tuned. I love the gray details to certain areas under the hood. It gives it almost a realistic look. So I do like that. And as you can see, it has the Nissan logo in the front. And as you can see, like I said, the grill also has the same color as the truck itself. You can see where the fog lights are, and like I said, on the bottom it has that kit with the red accents, so that is also beautiful. So I do like what they did with this Nismo. Okay, so oh, and the sunroof, it has a sunroof. Unfortunately, it does not open. So that's one thing it doesn't do. And finally, it has lights. It does have lights, front and rear. So you can see. So let me see. It might have the... No, it doesn't have it. It also has nice little running boards on it. So that's that. So now let's move on to the regular model. Now you're seeing something that's actually come along with the regular model. As you can see, I've added some things to the regular model, and as you can see here, there are some bicycles that I have added to the regular model. First, let's check out the interior on this Patrol. And as you can see, the seats look a totally different color than the one in the Nismo. So you can see in here, I you know what? I kind of like the interior. Well, not the interior per se, but I do like the center console a little bit better than the one in the Nismo, because I like that clear centerpiece that they use right there. I do like that. I think that is cool. And as you can see, it also has the gold and things on the doors as well. Now this one, I don't see the speakers on this one. I don't think this one came with the speakers. So if you open up the hood, now this one actually has a V8. So this one has a V8, and you can see that right there under the hood. So as I said, either it's going to come with a 5.6 liter V8 or a 3.5 liter V6. But in this case, this one does have the 8 in it, where the Nismo is more tuned, so it's going to have a more high performance engine. Is going to move a lot more faster than this standard model. So as you can see, this does have the V8 under it. And let's check out the driver's side. As you can see, the steering wheel looks very much different from the steering wheel in the Nismo. So like I said, there are going to be difference in looks and different package, because the Nismo is an upgraded version of the standard model. So you're going to get some things in the Nismo that you don't quite get in the regular Patrol. So I would show you the rear of this one, but it is blocked right now by the bicycles. And as you can see, this one has a smaller sunroof. Now, Let's retract this. Now, here's the focus, the bicycles. Now, you're probably wondering how this happened. So, I'm going to show you some pictures first here. And if you look on the screen, I have some bicycles here. And these are the bicycles that I purchased. I purchased these from AliExpress. As you can see, they came in 3 colors and 3 different bicycles. And it only cost me $4.47 with tax, but along with the bike, you can also see that there are other things that you can add to your SUV as accessories. Like this picture here where it shows the gas cans and accessories that you can add on top of your SUV. Then we have another one here that has toolboxes or beer coolers and things like that that you can add also to the top of your truck. That's another suggestion. And then here in this picture you have the drums, the oil drums and shovels and fire extinguishers and things like that that you can also add as an accessory. And as you can see, the Jeep here that is pictured, that it has the fire extinguisher posted on the back of the Jeep with the oil drums sitting inside the back portion of the Jeep. Then you have these what you call these? I'm trying to remember what these are. Bungee cords. Bungee cords that you can hook to the top of your truck to hold something down. In this case, this is a bungee net. And you can see it's got hooks on it. So that if you wanted to put something on top of your truck, if your truck has a cage on top, you would be able to take the bungee net and be able to hook it on to the cage on top, which would hold your supplies and things down on top of the SUV. So I really like the products that they have on this one. And finally, here's a overall picture of some of the other things you didn't see in some of the other pics. Of course, you see the bikes there, but there are some fire extinguishers, a bucket. You've seen the toolboxes, the cooler for your beers and sodas. You can see that there's a wooden crate box there, and then there's some other materials like jack stands and gas cans and things of that nature. And then you see a oil drum there. So, and skateboards. So there are a plethora of things that they supply for you in case you want to get creative with your SUV. And this is kind of like what I did here with my Patrol. And as you can see, I took the time to make a makeshift bike rack. And a lot of you are quite fond of what quite know what the bike racks are for, people who like to go biking in the mountains and things like that. And you have these bike racks attached to your SUV and things like that. So in this particular one, I put together a makeshift bike rack. It's not perfect, but I think it suits what I am trying to do. So this black part right here is actually a bottom piece that I took off of an old Lamborghini that I had. It was like a 1/18 scale. Very beat up, very banged up. It was junk. So I did take like the bottom platform piece off, and I used it as a way to make it into the platform for stationary for the bicycles. So as you can see that there are a couple of grooves indented into the platform pieces on top, which would allow the bike wheel to sit down in, you see right there, to be able to sit down in the groove so that the bike can be stationary. And as you can see, I tied it down with zip ties so that the bike can stay stationary. You know, it'll be easy. You can easily remove it just by popping the zip ties, and that's all it takes. And so let's look at the other side. And as you can see, I've done the same thing. So I had to make it to where it was clear enough to the point to where I was able to put both bikes on the back, but I had to account for the fact that the bike had pedals on them. So with the bike pedals, I had to account for the space that would take. So I had to make sure that my platform was long enough to be able to put both bikes on. And as you can see, it was quite a success. And so you're probably wondering, like, how did I get the platform to stay on there? And I'm about to show you. So if you look at the bottom here, so I told you I got this piece from an old 118 Lamborghini that was junk. So as you can see, I clearly cut it off with a pair of wire cutters here at this point. And I stuck it clearly under, well, right over top of the exhaust pipes so that it can mount itself in between. But I also have these long black pieces that you see that are protruding from it and is going down into the bottom of the truck. And so you're probably wondering what those are. Simple. I'm quite sure a lot of you had plastic model cars that you put together. I'm talking about the ones you put together with glue, the super glue, and then you have to paint it. You have to do this, you have to do that. Now, you know those little plastic pieces that you're pulling your parts off of, you know, to put your car together, and you got that one big plastic thing that all of your parts came on? That is what I used. I clipped a piece off of each end so that it could be equally as long, you know, symmetrically, so that they go down into the bottom. I drilled 2 holes here to put this in here to make it stay. For this one side, I did not have to do too much because the hole was small enough to where the fitting was like snug. But this side was a little too big, so I had to throw on a zip tie to make it stay. And as you can see, by coming down, now I had to fix the plastic pieces onto the platform so that the platform can also stay put and, you know, make it so that it stays in place. And that's exactly what I did there. And so it came out to be successful, and I like the way it looked. And as for the top, now these are plastic, these plastic pieces, believe it or not, if you look at them very close, those plastic pieces you see on top, those are nothing but picture hooks. You know those 3M hooks that you buy when you want to put a picture on the wall or hang something on the wall, and it has like that little double-sided tape. And that's all it took for this. So all I did was took a few of those, mounted it on top of the truck, and took the, as you can see, the seat, and I pushed the seat in between one of the hooks and took some foam and pushed it in between the hooks to make the bike stay put. But not only that, I also used a I don't know what the name of that thing is. That it's like a metal piece, the metal piece that bends, and you twisty, one of those little twisties. You know, the ones, those twisties that you find on a loaf of bread when you buy a loaf of bread from the store. One of those twisties. So I had a black twisty, and I took it and I wrapped it around under the seat of the bike, and brought it this way and attached it to right here below the handlebars, and wrapped it around the second clip over here, which was fixed to the handlebars. So as you can see, the bike does not move. The bike is secure and is in place. I'm happy with the way it came out. And so as you can see, it does have ground clearance, and I'll give you a better look. I'm taking it off, and as you can see right there, it does have ground clearance. So when it moves, it does not interfere with anything. It doesn't bother anything. It moves the way it's supposed to. So I like that. So yeah, so it definitely has its way of working itself out. So yeah, I like this. I like what I did with this one, and I enjoyed this project a lot because it was something a little bit different. I think with this project itself, I feel like it gave me a little bit of, it gave me something to work with in the process. But I think also I had to look at this and kind of and say, what can I do different? And this was what I came up with, you know. And I enjoy the way it came out. I enjoy the way this looks, you know. And like I said, this was something different, you know. And I wanted to show you guys this because if you can create anything you want if you put your mind to it. In this case, I wanted to do this one right here. I wanted to do something a little more recreational than the norm, you know. So I came up with this idea here to make a bike rack and kind of just attach some bikes to one of my SUVs. You know, in this case, the Nissan Patrol / Nissan Armada. But there you have it, folks. These are my Nissan Patrol and Nissan Patrol Nismo. And so I want you to link down in the comments and tell me what you think about the bikes that I put on the top. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Is it a very creative, very impressive thing to you? Like I said, it can get your juices flowing and have you do something just a little bit different, you know, step out your comfort zone and do something different for a change. You know, I just felt like I wanted to do something a little bit different. When I saw the bikes, it just came to my mind and said, you know what, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So that's what I came up with. You know, like I said, it's not perfect, but it is perfect enough for me to say that it was a success in the way I put it together and the way I presented it. So I think it was good. I think it was great. But you let me know what you think down in the comments, and you tell me what you think. Also, tell me what you like about both the regular Patrol and the Nismo, and you tell me your opinion, which one you like better. Do you like the standard model better? You might like the Nismo better. You know, there's some things about the regular Patrol that you might not like about the Nismo, and vice versa. So Let me know in the comments what you think about them. But until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, stay prayed up, and good day.